As you came into the church this morning, you saw our decorations in the narthex, and you could see the trees up here. So if you were paying attention to the gospel, it should have sounded a little strange to you. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and on earth nations will be in dismay, perplexed by the roaring of the sea and the waves. People will die of fright in anticipation of what is coming upon the world, for the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Beware that your hearts do not become drowsy from carousing and drunkenness and the anxieties of daily life, and that day catch you by surprise like a trap. For that day will assault everyone who lives on the face of the earth. Not very Christmassy, is it? Well, it's not Christmas yet. It's Advent. So, Adventus in the Latin, it means the coming. And we have two kinds of comings that we are at the same time looking at. One is the preparation for the historical coming of Jesus in the flesh as a babe in Bethlehem, the feast that we'll celebrate on the Nativity. And the second is that second final coming of Jesus at the end in glory. So we keep those two together. It's actually our faith that Jesus came as a child that allows us to look forward with hope to his final coming again. So while Jesus gives these dire passages, in the middle of it, he says, when these signs begin to happen, stand erect and raise your heads because your redemption is at hand. So we look forward to those final days with hope. So one of the problems that we deal with in our modern world is the difference between secular Christmas and the religious or church Christmas. Right? So I stand before you wearing purple, just like I do in Lent. But Advent is not Lent. It's all about joyful anticipation. We should pray a little bit more, do a little bit better in our exercises of charity, search for virtues, prepare ourselves so that when Christmas Day comes, we're full of the joy. We're filled with his grace so that we can fully partake in Christmas. As it turns out, preparing for the second coming requires of us the very same thing. That idea that we're always growing in love and peace and joy, seeking forgiveness, pardon for our own sins. That's the way we prepare so that when the great day of the return of Jesus comes, we're full of joy and filled with his grace and able to look at him with hope. So a few things I'm already seeing. The Facebook posts that begin to lament that businesses no longer say Merry Christmas, right? How bad it is that we're going to hear Happy Holidays or season greetings or perhaps nothing at all. The way to deal with this is not to stand self-righteously before the person and force them to say Merry Christmas, right? Let it go. There was a day in Christianity where the very saying of Merry Christmas would have had you turned over to the torturers and put to death. We really don't have it that bad. If they say Happy Holidays, smile. You can say Merry Christmas, of course. Just be gentle with it. The second thing that we're going to start seeing is the little metallic stickers on the decals on the back of cars that say, keep Christ in Christmas, right? That's our way of shaking our finger at the world for forgetting the reason for the season. Well, a few things. If you put that on your car, make sure that you tone down the road rage, because nothing keeps Christ in Christmas like screaming obscenities at the car that cut you off, shaking your hand in rage. A second thing, don't drive slow in the left lane. Jesus wants you to get into the right so that the rest of us can keep the spirit of Christmas too. Right? In this time, I fully partake of secular Christmas. I love, love, love it. I've loved it since I was a child. Santa Claus and reindeers and snowmen. I've already begun listening to Christmas carols. I know that people complain that it all happens too soon. But as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't go on long enough. We need more of it. Even if they've forgotten that Jesus is the whole reason behind Christmas, there's something about secular Christmas that still really does bring out the best in our society. We're a little bit more generous this time of year. We might get trapped in commercialism, and that isn't a good thing. But there's a spirit that's still there. And the way we want to keep Christmas is to be so filled with joy and love as we eagerly await to celebrate the coming of our Savior in the flesh, that even those who don't believe, when they see us, say, I want to believe, I wish I could believe. If we keep the spirit of Christmas right as we prepare ourselves in Advent, it opens up the hearts of all of those around us as they taste of our joy and peace and gentleness and love. It prepares them perhaps to receive Jesus. And then for ourselves, if we do it right, we're full of joy when we get to that day when it's not just a few trees with lights, but all the decorations, including the decorations of grace in our soul, so we can fully keep Christmas the way that it's meant to be.